Hello, and welcome to Stacy's Studio. I'm Carrie Stacy, and today I'm going to walk you through a project that's inspired by this week's full of festive celebrations, which is what? That's right, Easter. So when I was coming up with ideas of what to do, the first thing that came to mind was the Faberge Egg. Have you seen one of these before? You may not have seen the original ones. There were about 50, but some of those are even lost. So we'll get to that. The Faberge Jewelry Company made the first Faberge eggs in Russia in the 19th and early 20th century. The Imperial Russian royal family, led by Tsar Alexander III, commissioned them as Easter gifts for the Empress. Peter Faberge, the owner of the Faberge Jewelry Company, supervised the crafting of the first egg in 1885. This egg, known as the first hen or jeweled hen, was made entirely of gold coated in opaque white enamel. A thin band of gold showed where the two halves of the egg joined, and inside the egg was a surprise. When twisted to open, the egg contained a round yolk also made of gold. Opened, that revealed a gold hen with a ruby eyes. The surprises didn't end there though. The hen opened up even too, and inside was a gold and diamond replica of the Russian imperial crown, including a tiny ruby pendant on a chain. That's one pretty fancy Easter egg. It was such a big hit that the Tsar had commissioned Faberge to make Easter eggs from there on out. That became the big thing. Now, the really neat thing about Faberge's eggs is they were all unique and different. And the Tsar gave Mr. Faberge all artistic freedom to create them how he wanted to. All of them have some little treasure inside. This is a coronation egg. It was created for the coronation of the Tsar's daughter. But they're all different, and they usually trended with the fashion of the day of what was going on. Now, the most expensive one is this one right here. Much of the value of these eggs comes from their tie to the glory and consequently tragic fall of the Imperial Russia and the Romanov family. During the Russian Revolution in 1970, Bolshevik revolutionaries ransacked the Imperial Palace. Lenin ordered that all valuables be removed. Many of the eggs were transferred to the Kremlin armory, although some others are thought to have been stolen. I mean, come on. They're small, easy to pocket, and those guys knew they were worth something. The Russian government sold a number of eggs they held in 1927. The eggs were consequently transported all over the world. Now, 7 of the 50 eggs are considered lost, along with many of their surprises. So, like I said, all of them had a surprise inside. And this one's considered to be the most valuable. In fact, in, I believe it was 2005, it was auctioned off for over $9 million. So that's a lot of money. And it is designed like as if it has ice crystals all over it. And inside, this is the treasure that was inside the treasure. So today we're going to make our own version of the Faberge egg, or a Faberge egg, because it's going to be unique to the artist, so you get to design it the way you want it to look. What you'll need today, if you have it, markers, Q-tips, some water for the Q-tips, and a pencil, and some colored pencils to add some detail. Okay, so let's get going. So the first thing we're going to do is you got to draw an egg, right? I mean, it's a Faberge egg, so you got to draw an egg. All right. So we're going to draw the egg. Notice that when I'm drawing it, I'm going in small, like, motions. I'm not trying to do it all in one. I'm kind of going around, and hopefully I will get it to where it looks like an egg. Oh, it looks pretty close, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm going to erase out some of the little parts I don't need. And now it's, we're just going to kind of design the egg. You can design your egg any way you want to. But I thought for my example with you today, I'm going to do something similar to this one here. Okay, so this was another one of the Faberge eggs. So if you watch the op art video about the North Pole and South Pole, I'm going to kind of go along with that idea again, sort of. It might be a little off. But I'm just going to start with the design. When you're starting to design your egg, start with the big shapes and then work your way into small detailed shapes. Don't try to do it all at once, because then if you don't like something and you put all your effort into this little tiny detail and then you have to go and erase, you're going to get frustrated. So I want this to kind of look like some jeweled ribbons there on the side. So that kind of splits it up. And then now I'm going to make like the big jewel in the middle. I'm going to put two smaller ones. A medium-sized one here, medium-sized one here. Now what works really well when you're making these is to make sure you're symmetrical. Do you know what that means? It means that what you do to one side, you do to the other. It just balances it really well when you do that. There we go. It's messing with me again. So I'm going to put some more right here. So I'm kind of getting my pearls set up, and then I'm going to put in some design. So mine might look exactly like what that example I showed you, but it's inspiration. Now, if you have an idea of what you want your egg to look like, please, by all means, make your egg yours. You do not have to do what I'm doing. I'm just showing you how to create one. Just like the op art thing that we did, this can look really complicated, but really isn't that complicated. It's all a matter of taking your time with your design. So what I'm doing is like, okay, I did this little mark here, and then I've got this line here. So I know I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do the exact same thing before I move on. Because if I don't, I might forget about it. Now, one of the things that works well with this, the Faberge eggs and the designs of them, is lots of curves. Curvy the better. And I'm kind of making it so it has like a thick line to it. And right here I'm going to make this like a curve. I'm going to scallop it. Scalloping, I just mean like curving it and going down. Okay, and I'm making that a thick line too. I don't want just straight pencil lines. You think of it as a shape, the different shapes of what's going on in there. So I got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Need a fourth one in there. So that's what I mean. If it's off, it's noticeable. Okay, so if you have to, this is what I mean, like, go back and do it before you get in any more deeper with it. Okay, let's see here. Need something in between here. Let's make this kind of circle around this way. So again, it's okay to change up your design and idea if you see fit. I was wondering, why did that not look right? I needed to go around. There we go. I think I want this to kind of connect too, so I'm just going to let it wrap around there and connect. And then I think I want to add another little swirly design in here so it looks like it connects. This one, I think I want to make it look like that. There we go. That seems busy, doesn't it? Okay, so let's see what I can do here. Make it look like, kind of like a chain. Now your egg can have things coming off of it if you want. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to stay flat. It could have things coming off of it. Is it looking busy? It looks like it's looking busy. That's a good thing. Okay, now when you get to the sides, and you're kind of creating the same thing, it's like you're doing the same thing here, because the patterns repeat. But this time you're going to have to kind of make it, you're going to have to smush part of the side here. Okay, and I'm going to let it come off a little bit because I want it to look like they're real pearls or beads or whatever that are coming off of the egg. Okay, so it's an illusion thing. Okay, so I have the scallops here. I'm going to bring my scallop up to there. No, I want a third one in there. So you're really getting to see me like walk through how I would do this. These are busy, so they do take a little time to play with to get them the way you might like them. I know I was supposed to keep it simple. Sorry, I don't know how to do simple. I'm working on it. So just be non-simple, at least today. So I'm working my way around, trying to create these designs here. Okay, I decided to go ahead and finish out the design without having you sit here with me doing it. Now, a lot of the eggs had pedestals that they sat on. So to create a pedestal, you can do however you might like to, but it is a form. So anytime you have a line that, if it's like a cylinder, give it a slight curve to it. So I'm going to make this little pedestal, give it a slight curve there. And I'm going to come in kind of like a trapezoid. And I'm going to give that a slight curve again. Bedazzle it just a little bit. So it's going to come kind of like parentheses. I'm going to give it a curve. We'll put some beads in that. And then I'm going to come down again. I mean, at any point I could probably leave it, but I'm going to give it just like it's like an oval here to create the base of it. Okay. And then I could even just add some little tiny ovals. It'll give it the illusion of like a little pearl. Oops. I'm getting sloppy. Don't get sloppy, okay? Don't do what I just did. There we go. Ugh, still off. Alright, so we basically have the design of the Faberge egg. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick some marker colors. You can keep this as simple as you want it to be, or you can be a little more adventurous. I would recommend, though, don't go crazy with the colors. This isn't a project for like the Skittles package dumped all over your Faberge egg. It's more limited in your color choices. So whatever colors you choose, just make sure you keep them at a minimum. Okay, so for my egg, I've decided to keep it in purples and blues. That doesn't look like purple, but it is. So I'm going to start with just kind of, I think I want all of my pearls to have like a blue color. Now, we are going to be using the Q-tips to act like a watercolor. So I'm not going to cover the whole thing of the pearl with the blue, but I'm going to give it some blue. Okay, but I'm going to do that for all of my pearls. I'm going to keep all my pearls this color blue. Okay, so I have all those blues in. And then I'm going to come in with some of the lines and just give them a darker blue. I'm not trying to shade them in, I'm just kind of outlining. And you'll see how the colors will lighten and blend once we add some water with them. So I'm going to add this to here, and I'm going to add it to all of these smaller lines. Okay, so I have the whole egg outlined in the blue. These little gems, I'm going to make them purple. I think you can finally see the purple of that. The middle ones I'm going to go light purple. And I think inside these I'm going to add some purple. Now notice I'm just kind of adding a line. Those colors are going to blend here in a minute. And I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to put it in here. You can watch the magic happen here in just a minute. I forgot one over here. Oh no. We'll just have to pretend it was there. Okay, I'm going to add a streak of purple in here. Streak of purple through here. And I also need my little pedestal. So I've got a turquoise color. Make these a little thicker. Kind of looks like the color of the blue pearls. Make the inside of this purple. Now, if this gets to be too much, just use some markers and color it in. It's no problem. So I'm going to just add some purple. I've turned the marker sideways and just kind of shading it in. Okay? All right, now the magic. So we're going to take a Q-tip. I'm going to take some water. My water's dirty because I did the other one. And then when you are dipping the Q-tip in, and you're going to take the Q-tip over top of the lines that you've made. Don't do this because that's going to mess up everything, because it's going to blend the way you put it in, or the directions you go in. And you may need a few Q-tips because you know they might get dirty. Depends on how many colors you chose. For this one, I just kind of kept it simple with the same color range in the cool colors here. But if I'd added like yellows and oranges in here, I would definitely need to be really careful because you don't want them to blend. So do you see how it's dissolving? It's really cool. So it becomes like watercolor. But if it's taking away a design, not to worry. You can always come back into it. And even here where it's solid, it kind of smooths out a little bit of those marker marks. You know what I'm talking about? It's down here. I flipped it over so I had a clean side. See how light it's getting? And it's blending. It'll take away almost all of the directional marks of the marker. Some of it will still be there, but a lot of it will be gone. So it's really cool. And I can just blend. Yeah, be careful too. Like the paper, whatever you use, so we didn't really talk about that. I just dug into it. Okay, so I've got the base covered. Now for like even these, I mean, you can go over the whole thing if you wanted to, or just like where you put kind of like the bulk of the color, and it'll just naturally kind of fill in. Now for the egg itself, I'm just going to like drag the Q-tip up, and it's going to pull the color. Okay, so I've got pretty much everything colored. Now you can go back in after it dries, and it dries pretty fast. Then you can go back in with the markers and pull out any detail. Okay, so like where this lost all of that detail, I can come back in with the marker right on top and make that stand out again. So I'm going to do this for all those lines. Okay, so I've basically got the egg covered. Now, how do you finish it off? Well, you could give it a background. So I could keep it with these colors, or maybe I want it to glow, because it is a Faberge egg. So what you can do is take that marker. I'm moving the marker to the side. I actually want this one is a brighter one. Looks like a highlighter, but it's not. So I'm just putting kind of a layer all the way around, not touching the egg, because I want it to glow. Okay, it's feeling pretty good about that. So I'm going to add that orangey color. Now, if you had a paintbrush, you could definitely, that would work probably better for finishing this out. But if you don't have a paintbrush, the Q-tip works just fine. I've actually got one more shade, like a brownish color. Okay. And then I'm going to take that Q-tip again. And again, you'll need to make sure you're watching it. So I'm going to start, if I start with the brown here. I'm going to blend that brown to the orange with this particular Q-tip. See how that takes away those directional marks? That's the really neat thing. Now, if you have Sharpies, this is not going to work. And if you have Sharpies, you probably already figured that out. These are, I'm using Crayola markers. Any kind of washable marker will work. Okay, so when you get ready to blend here, I'm flipping it to the orange side, because it's going to keep it from going straight brown. They'll start to blend into each other. Okay. So it kind of looks like one of those rocks that you bust open and it has the gemstones in it. Maybe that's metaphoric for the way it's turning. So, and then the bottom of this as well, you can just give it, do the same thing. Keep these marks though horizontal, because that gives it the illusion that it is sitting on something flat. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Use your Q-tip. Okay. Now to finish it up, you could leave it like this if you wanted to, or you can come in with a white colored pencil, because don't you always wonder, like, what do you actually the white colored pencil for? Well, you can use it on top of watercolor or colored papers. It'll show up for you. But I'm just adding little highlights in there. I can do the same thing, like you can add design to it too. So we have this design here. What if you can add designs in? So I'm just putting this pattern through here. And if you caught any background noise, I do apologize. That would be my family. They are loud, even though the door is shut. So see, you can see how just tiny little marks made that look even more busier than this here. Okay, so you can keep doing those sorts of things. Underneath here, I'm going to add just a little bit of darker purple shadow. Kind of a little cast shadow there. And it's going to add a little more dimension to it. And I'm using the colored pencil for that. Same thing right here. It's still a little wet. And then after you have all your details, voila, you have a Faberge egg. I hope you enjoy. If you do the project, if you'll post yours to Visual Arts at Meadowview or Factory at Meadowview on Instagram or Facebook there, I would certainly appreciate it. I'd love to see what you came up with. Have a great day. Tomorrow, by the way, there'll be a new project, so be on the lookout.